Hey guys, it's Jessica Sadowski here with Century 21.
And Maria. Oh.
And we're here with my girl Maria. We're just kind of having some brief talks today, just kind of about the business. And Maria had some specific questions that she was kind of wondering about the home buying process. So we're really just going to videotape us having a conversation, and we hope that it can be helpful for you guys.
Yep.
So what kind of questions did you have, Maria?
Okay, so when someone is becoming, like when someone's a renter and they are thinking of becoming of a homeowner, what are some tips you can give, some potential first-time home buyers?
So obviously most important when you're going to be buying a house or a home, same thing, is you're going to want to find out the financials. That's going to be most important. You're going to want to have an idea of where your credit is. If you've had any issues in the past and you start talking with a lender, always be up front if you had anything go to collections or if you had any issues with certain things not being paid, because that will better help a realtor and the mortgage person better serve you if you're up front from the start. So really, if you have an issue with credit, you should start thinking about that as one of the first things.
So basically like a credit repair service.
If you need a credit repair service, definitely talk with somebody about what you need to do to kind of get you in line, because you have to remember that the better your credit, the better rate that you're going to have, and the more money that you can save a month by just having better credit. And of course, you're going to want to get your budget. What is your budget? If you currently rent for $1,400 a month, is that what your budget's going to be when you're buying a house? Because once you get your pre-approval, they could approve you for $300,000, but that's not a $1,400 a month budget. So you may need to reevaluate and readjust that down to what you can afford. And of course, going along with your budget is making sure you're saving. You're going to save for your down payment. You're going to save for your closing costs. You're going to have to save for inspections. All things that are going to come with buying a house.
Interesting. Okay. Now, is there any tips that you can give anybody like after you purchase your home, should you have an emergency fund, so if something was ever to go wrong in the house?
I always say if you're buying a house, you don't want to be house poor. You want to budget so that once you go through with the home buying process, and you'll do this within a home inspector as well, is that you'll have certain things that you're going to know they're going to start budgeting for. So to say, is there a specific amount of money that you should have every month? A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. But if you're trying to do it the smart way, to have a little bit of money to budget just in case something happens when you get into the property, say you buy a house and you come that they have a major sewer problem, and you did have your inspections, but it was something that just wasn't an issue at that time, and now it's a month down the road and you're going to be out $5,000, those things will happen when you're a homeowner. Right. And then in turn, to kind of shift to the insurance side, something like a sewer, people should be at this point talking with their insurance provider about getting, if you're especially an older house, you should be getting sewer insurance.
Backup.
Yeah, any kind of insurance that's going to help you if there was a backup or if the line needs to be replaced. It's really important. So sure. Real things like that too, you can even budget ahead of time for getting insurance to save you money kind of in the long run, especially for something like a sewer or flooding or anything like that.
Oh, nice. Now, when, let's say, for example, when you're working for somebody, with somebody who's a first-time home buyer, do you connect them with their mortgage contacts, or do you refer, or are you able to use your own contact? How does that work?
So I'll typically have a conversation with a client when I first meet with them. I'll find out their budget, kind of what they're looking for. I have contacts that I use that I think are trusted professionals that I've done deals with in the past. I'll definitely refer clients to. Yeah. But like anything, you can shop around. You can work with whoever you want. Nice. You want to do yourself a benefit to talk to more than one lender so that you know that you're getting the best rate.
Okay. So that's awesome.
Yeah, but it correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as when you're starting to look for a home, as far as credit on the mortgage side, getting the best rate, I think we talked about that actually for your insurance policy, if you have better credit, you can get a better rate too.
Right.
So it's beneficial all around to kind of save you money, not just on your mortgage rate, but also on your insurance policy.
Right. Exactly.
So,
yeah. What tips can you give, for example, what are the do's and don'ts, when you're in the process of purchasing a home? What should you, not do?
So when you're about to start looking to buying a home, don't go out and buy a new car. Don't try and pay off, too many of your, your debts or consolidate any loans. Don't go to the store and pre-buy furniture on a credit card. Just don't do anything stupid. You want to make sure that when your mortgage lender pulled your credit and pulled your financials, that those are staying relatively exactly the same towards the end of the transaction, because you don't want anything else popping up on your report, especially for your credit, like last minute, and they're like, oh, look, now your debt to income's off and we can't approve you for this. So really, when you're buying a house, budget for the things you need for the house. Don't go out spending, buying, consolidating, anything like that. If you need to consolidate student loans and such in order to buy a house, do that, and then maybe 6 months to a year down the line, then start the process. But yeah, don't do anything stupid to mess up with your financials. Don't quit your job.
So I'm personally a renter still, and I am definitely thinking in the future of purchasing a home. But I heard that like right now the market is basically it's a really hot market right now, and I heard that there are people that are outbidding other buyers. So like, what do you guys do like in a situation like that? Like if you have somebody that falls in love with a home and then they get outbidded, like how does like.
So I'm a true believer, if you're getting outbidded, like that's not the house that you were supposed to have. But then there comes another aspect of it, is if someone's outbidding you and you go to your max and you're waiving inspections, you did all that you could do. And that you're going to be in a better position without this house. There's a reason why you didn't get that house. There's going to be someone who's going to come in and they're going to go well over list, and they're going to agree to pay out of pocket the shortfall for an appraisal. Like, you have to put yourself in that position. Do you want to do that?
Right.
If you're going to be in a house for 20 years and you love it and you can't live without it, sure, you'll pay for a shortfall. But if you have a 5-year plan in this market, waiving inspections, paying for an appraisal that's short is not your smartest financial move. But people ask me, oh, should I do that? Like, should I pay out of pocket? It's like, this is your decision. Do you want this house?
Yeah.
Will I be able to resell it in 10 years? You might be able to. Just, based on the market goes up and down. And right now we're at an up. We're gonna eventually, probably stable.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're in this market, you're gonna go into things making decisions that are gonna be tough. Whether if waiving inspections is okay, if you're worried about something happening after, or if you're gonna pay that appraisal shortfall.
Now, I heard you say something about debt to income ratio. What is that for newbies that haven't purchased a home before?
So your debt to income ratio is typically how you get approved for a loan. That the lender is looking at your debt compared to your income to determine what you can afford monthly.
Right.
Which a lot of times, like I said before, is that they can think you're like on paper it could look like you can afford something monthly, but your own personal finances of other things that you pay for monthly. Like, they're not looking at your gym membership, you're paying that. They're not looking at your grocery bills, they're looking at your debts. So as much as your lender can help you get your budget, you need to be upfront with what you realistically spend a week in groceries, with the gym, like other things to get to your budget.
Okay. Now, like, I'm currently now, like, I'm in Montgomery County, and I was curious, like, with Bucks County, like, Bucks County, Jersey, like, are there any grants that for first-time home buyers that are available? Like, what is the main grant that people are using right now?
So there is a first-time home buying grant in New Jersey. I believe it's like $10,000 that you can get towards your closing costs. But from my understanding of that grant is that they put it on your mortgage as like a secondary mortgage, and it has to be paid off. There's another program that I use, a Bank of America. It can be used in all 50 states. You can get the 3% down payment. It's typically a conventional loan, and they'll give you $7,500 towards closing costs. Now, there are going to be like income limits and credit minimums for these programs.
Right.
But another thing, you should always research loan programs when you're starting to buy a house. Ask realtors that ask lenders that because there are programs out there that can save you a lot of money.
Nice.
So.
Nice. Now, like, what's the typical, like, what's the typical span, how long does it take, like, the process of buying a home? Like, particularly, like, what's the average? Is it, like, 6 to 12 months? Like, how much time do people spend before they, like, close?
Before they actually close?
Yeah.
So, in this market, it can be a little bit longer because it's very competitive. But typically, if we're out there and we're looking at 5 homes in one day and you put an offer in, you can close on that house within 30 days. A typical loan closes from 30 to 45 days. So it can be a pretty quick process.
Right.
probably the longest process in this market is finding the property because the inventory is so low. So
Right.
finding the property in this market, you'll probably put out a handful of offers before you finally get to that point where you're willing to waive inspections. You know,
Right.
you lose enough to where you're finally willing to let go of some of these other contingencies to kind of make your offer stronger. But yeah.
Awesome. That's really some really good stuff, Jess. Like, I really appreciate you taking the time out today to speak with me about this. This is something that's kind of been on my mind, and I've been curious about on how that works. You know, you guys know I do the insurance portion. Actually, I have one question. Can you close on a home without insurance? Like,
You can if you're doing like a cash deal.
Cash deal.
Because the mortgage lenders are normally the people who require you to have insurance.
right.
So if you know that I just bought a property cash
Yes.
and we got insurance without closing, we did
Right.
it after.
Yeah.
So if you do something cash, they're not going to require you anything. But if you're getting a loan, you're going to need to have insurance.
Right. But it's definitely recommended having insurance, especially
It's
if it's
recommended
cash. It's still an
insurance no
investment.
matter what.
Still need insurance, but I was just curious about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Jess, again.
Yeah.
Again, guys, my name is Maria Feliciano from the Satinoff Insurance Agency, and this is Jessica Sadusky from the Sadusky team. But yeah, guys.
Yeah,
Cool.
and we'll probably get together again soon and get you guys some information out, and hopefully it can be helpful, and you can reach out to us anytime with
Yeah.
any questions.
Yeah, if you guys have any additional questions for Jess, I'm going to be tagging her in this video. If you can message her, email her, if you want to put your contact information when we do that. So, but yeah.
All right, guys. See ya.